Hi, it's Kyle here. I actually am creating this video because I wanted a link from the book to share a little something personal with you and just another way to connect and transfer the information. So the topic here is you're already perfect. And when we talk and look at the third level of consciousness, wantiness, it's an important evolution. And for many people, it's important to move into I want, I deserve, I can have, to get out of level two. And it is a self-honoring place. And the problem is just a lot of people get stuck there. And then it's also hard on ourselves, it's hard on others, and it's hard on the planet. Whenever we're in drive, and the way I define drive is wanting more than I have or wanting to be more than I am. And wanting is always projected into the future. So wanting implies lack. So as soon as I want something, I also have to recognize that I lack it. And that's fine, again, to get us moving. It's a good level of awareness. There's nothing wrong with it, and we're building on it. And if we want to go to more of a level 4 consciousness, where we're in rhythm and harmony with others around us and with the planet and ultimately with ourselves, because that wanting and then that driving to have more actually means I have to violate myself to do it. And most people in our culture are doing that. They're driving themselves through work, pushing themselves through work, doing more than's good for their body. They're spending more time in that aggressively trying to have rather than just in being. One of the things to notice, and the core of this video is you're already perfect. Your life is already perfect, and you've already arrived. And while that may seem stagnant, it's actually not. It's not stagnant. It's actually very alive and dynamic when I can be in the present and respond to whatever's arising beautifully. But if I'm not trying to grasp on being more in the future or having more in the future. So when I talk about this, the awareness is that if we go back into the past, into your past, into my past, and sometimes it's a little hard to get at first, but was there ever a moment when in that moment you didn't feel like you were doing the very best you could for yourself? Was there ever a moment? Now, most people, when I say that to them, say, yeah, totally. I can see I should have done it differently then. I should have done it differently then. But that's the reflecting on the past. In the present moment, even if it's the extra shot of tequila or if it's placing the bet or whatever, in that moment that you placed the bet or in the moment that you took the extra shot of tequila or whatever it was, the moment you decided to be in that relationship or the moment you decided to get married, whatever it was, in that moment, there's no possibility that you didn't think it was the best thing for you in that moment. You may have regretted it later, but in that moment, you thought it was the best thing for you, best thing you could imagine in that moment for yourself. Now, the implication of this is really startling because that means you've always made the best choice every single time, every single moment that you could for who you were at that moment, for the information that you had, the understanding. There was never a moment you could have made a different choice because you were always making the best choice for you in that moment. The implications of this are astounding because that means that the expression of you could never have been otherwise. There's nothing to blame yourself for. There's no need for guilt or regret as you are playing out your life perfectly. The reason I can tell is it could not have been any different. Truly. There wasn't a moment that it could have been any different because exactly for who you were in every moment up to now, you did your very best. Impossible for it to be otherwise. Now, that allows you to forgive yourself, allows you to let go of the past. And that's why we let go of emotional pain from the past at level 1. That's why we clean up our contracts. We forgive our judgments on ourselves and others at level 2. And at level 3, We're giving up any lacks from the past, any judgment that I should have had more, I should have tried more, because those lacks in the past then create more drive in the future, especially if I'm trying to make up for not going to the right school, or if I'm trying to make up for not having made the right choice, or not having been more at some time. If I'm trying to make up for the past, that creates drive. Now I have to try harder because I'm a little behind. You don't. You did it perfectly, perfectly up till now. So that's the first awareness. Next awareness, if that's true, if you've always made the very best choice for yourself in loving choices for yourself, like what's in your best interest, if you've always made that, what can we predict about the future? If you've always made it before, we can predict that into the future, you have no choice in the future but to always make the best choice for you in any given situation. You always will. If you can get that, then you can see that your future is already set and done. It's already played out. The same thing we think about guilt and regret in the past, the future aspect, the mirroring in the future of guilt and regret is drive, anxiety, and worry. It's just the reverse form of it projected into the future. Do you get that? And it's unnecessary. Just in the same way guilt and regret is unnecessary from the past, drive, worry, anxiety about the future is misplaced because you just always do the very best you can. It's guaranteed. It's already done. Your past is done. Your future's done. What's left? All that's left is right here. And guess how you're going to respond to everything right now? The best. You're already perfect. You're playing out this whole experience of life perfectly, like a mathematical equation that's so complex you can't even understand it. You're the most complex mathematical equation that could ever have happened. How the sperm and egg came together, that's you. How the environment in which it played out, all the impacts, and all the other calculations, all the other mathematical equations around you. It's all right here. You're playing it out, and it is ultimately inevitable. It's ultimately inevitable. And all there is right here in this present moment. And what we don't understand about this present moment is it's pretty amazing. I mean, there's a few moments that are actually very difficult, physical pain, but 99% of the time, if I just stop and say, how are things right now, they're pretty great. Except when I'm bringing in guilt and regret from the past, or anxiety, stress, and drive toward the future. Only when I'm bringing those in. So if I stop bringing those in, this moment's amazing. And you actually are the most complex mathematical equation that could ever happen. And you're already doing it. And you're doing it perfectly and can't help but do it perfectly. And so the impact of that, the impact of understanding that lets you relax. You can just be here. It's all right. And however it's playing out is just fine. You'll respond beautifully. There's always going to be challenges that show up. There's going to be things that happen in the presence we have to respond to, and you're going to do beautifully because you can't help but do your very best automatically. You don't even have to try. But trying to do more than you can do, that's suffering. Trying to do more than you can do is suffering. Judging yourself on what happened in the past, that's suffering. But right here, right now, things are pretty good. Just see if you can feel that. Allow it for just a moment. You know, for me too, I have to remember this all the time. I have to remember it all the time because we have this mind with majority consciousness. It keeps wanting you to try to do more, try to do more, try to be better, and all that. And so it's a practice, and it takes time to deconstruct that. And it takes patience with yourself. And guess what? You're doing your best. And just listening to this video, connecting with this information, reconnecting with it again as often as you can will start to untrain you from the other way of doing it. We've got to stop this. We've got to stop trying to be more, have more. The idea that having more is going to make me happy, it doesn't. The drive to have more makes us suffer. Whatever you have right now is great, and more will come. More will come, just at the right pace, in the right way. Especially if you're not doing damage to yourself and other people around you and the planet. Is, there's plenty of abundance, and we really need to get off this hamster wheel. Right now, COVID's in full swing. I don't know when you're watching this, but the COVID thing's in full swing, and it's just the greatest reminder of that we're fine. We don't need all that to work so hard. We don't need to drive so hard. We don't need to consume so much. It's just, there's tragedy in it, but there's also so much beauty because it's giving us the information about how we can transform our lives for more beauty, to be more balance, and in our lives and with the planet. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's helpful to you. And we got a lot more. Touch in for other things. I'm going to keep making stuff, working on another book right now, and so I also hope you enjoy the book. And if you do enjoy the book, it would be great if you would, encourage other people to read it. That's how we'll get the message out. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Love yourself. Everything's perfect. You're perfect already. And I'm sending lots of love.